Hello ladies and gentlemen, short and tall, we welcome them all. This is Denny from One Call Diagnostics. I figured today would be as good a day as any to do our first video in the Hscope series. Now, I figured we would start with basically a basics of Hscope. This is not going to be like a in-depth at this point, like how to do each individual thing, but kind of an overview of what most everything does on Hscope. Kind of get you a little bit more comfortable with the buttons and modules and settings and options and things like that. So I think first off we're going to go straight to the settings page, which if you go to scope mode, go to the bottom, you're going to click on the little gear down here. That's going to be your settings page. Now this page right here is pretty much customizable settings, more or less. It's high brightness, which keeps your phone on high bright the whole time it's on. You're using Hscope, immersive mode, full screen, invert screen, depending on which way your cord's oriented, or however it flips it upside down, because it doesn't auto rotate, which is kind of nice. You can change your expanded, so when you pinch and zoom you can do amplitude and time, or only amplitude. And then your automotive settings, if you have the automotive module, you can do how it starts, whether it's manual, so when you click record you gotta click start, or automatic, which is the way I like mine. When you click record, it'll just sit and wait until it sees a change in the voltage, and then it'll start recording. And then you can do your you can actually do this start flags and trigger buttons. So when you're recording, like if you're doing automotive, if you're doing different ignition coils per se, you can drop a flag at each ignition coil when you change, so you know where you are. And then your memory, this affects how long you can record, to my understanding. This affects how long you can record an automotive module. Like if you have it set for 300 kilosamples and you're doing like this solid record mode, how many minutes, or if you have it set on pages mode, how many pages you can record. And then this is your report, so when you click the report button, this is the default name and default author and things like that. And you got your alert sound here. That is for your if you put rulers on there, you can actually set it so it beeps when it gets to one or the other. And then you got your show your frame rate and acquisition rate, and send anonymous usage statistics. I have it on because I like to participate. Then this is your oscilloscope information. If you have a Wi-Fi one, it'll come up here. I have the 512 max plugged in, so it's in here. Enable reference voltage setting there. Calibration. Now, as far as I have ever noticed, any HS, the 512 or the 502 that I ever had plugged in, I have never had to mess with any of these. Every time I plug it in, it seems to be within, the most I've ever seen it was like plus or minus maybe 100 millivolts. And in all honesty, most automotive measurements I do, that's not really going to affect anything. So I don't really ever mess with it. These are your channel settings. Now we'll get more into this in a little bit, but all these names in here, you can actually name your channels. So if you do a recording, you can name your channels and then put the information in your waveform when you save it, and then when you go to open that up, you can say, oh, okay, so channel 1 was the EGR and channel 2 was the injector, or you can just name it, which makes it really nice. And then you have down here your CAN bus things. This, when you name the channel CAN high or whatever, that's what actually enables the digital module to decode that, which we will get to too. Maybe not this video, but we will get there. These are your probe settings here. You can get them from the cloud, different ones, current. You can actually get the Martin Lauren clamp, or the Handtech amp clamp, or there's a bunch of stuff in here. And like I said, there's a whole list of them there. You can go through them. But whatever settings you want to have in here, you can have. You can add them, you can delete them, you can change them, you can make your own custom ones. These are the licenses that you bought, or have, however you want to word that. You can get license, and these are all the available license for the individual scopes that he has supported right now. If you have an HS512 or an HS502, you do not have to require a license, a general license for the program. When you have it plugged in, you automatically get access to it. I have a HS402 and a Handtech 1008C, so I have to buy the license in order to be able to enable the whole program. This is your system page. This shows your data and cache size, your IP address, battery level, your automotive memory available and used, your login information. You can actually go to the online guide by clicking that button, things like that. So that's enough of that, and let's get to the fun stuff. Okay, so this is scope mode. This is the first. This is what you get if you don't. How do I say it? If you don't need to record long time frames, put it that way. Like this would be like your regular oscilloscopes. Like you can do. Let's just go down through it in order. So you got your pause and your play up here. You have your aquire settings here. From what I understand, the blue is like roll mode. That's actually like a live, and then these are like system buffered, we'll say. Like the HS512 does up to 13 megasamples a second. And then this is your time base per division. So the more, as you can see there, the more samples you do, the shorter your time base per division is going to be. Now you can do your AC or your DC coupled, AC coupled, channel off. This is your voltage settings. Now when you change this, if you see how it says 80 up here in this corner up here, so if you go like this, now you see I went to 20 because I have that set to 16, so now it goes to 20. So or if you go down to 5.4 volts and you touch it, now it changes the screen size down to 10 volt. You see what I'm saying? So now you got your screen smaller, just to make it easier to see. Don't have to zoom in, it'll do that for you. Now here is your probes. You pick which probe you're using, and it automatically does your multiplier, your offset, or however it is. This button right here is for like frequency and things of that nature, which I don't have a waveform recorded yet, so we'll have to come back to them when we start doing that. Down here's your filter settings. You can invert your low pass, high pass, band pass, band stop, then all your settings for that filter that you're applying. And then to turn channel 2 on, you just tap that button right there, channel 2, and then you can change the settings of channel 2 separately. You can change your probe settings on channel 2 separately, same with filter and everything. And now back to those channel names we was talking about earlier. You click right here, you can pick any of these names, and these are the names that are in that list right there. I click on throttle. Now these blue ones over here are what enables the digital module, which we will get to. We're not going to get to that right now. That's right here. We're not going to get to that right yet. Now your trigger. Trigger is only available in scope mode, because in scope mode they're assuming that you want a short, quick, high sampled, or you want to be focused on one short time, or something that's like a live data, we'll say, more or less. So like when I'm doing secondary ignition, I use the trigger. So I use the scope mode, go to trigger normal, channel 1 rising, and I bump my trigger up till I catch my wave, my secondary ignition waveform, and then it keeps it centered on the screen. So as it's happening, it's just centered right there. You're not missing, it's not scrolling by, it just keeps it centered and focused right in the middle of the screen. And then you go to the next one, it just stays right there, so you can just focus just on that waveform. You don't have to keep looking over the whole thing or pausing it, or however you want to do it. Normal mode, like I said, every time the ignition would spark, it'll keep it lined up right where you have your trigger set, bam, every time, and it'll just keep going. Single mode is how you want to say it, like when it catches your trigger, when it happens at your trigger, it'll stop, bam, and it won't record anymore. That's it. You get one shot, you know what I mean? And then you have to hit play again, and it'll do it again until it hits that trigger mark, and then it'll stop again. And then over here it does display the voltage setting of where you have your trigger put over here in the box right there. Down here, this wavy button, I guess we're gonna call it the wavy button, turns off the display of the whole. This would be your whole recording here. So when you're zoomed in, actually, like if you was to pause this and you zoom in or zoom out or whatever, you'll get a little box here, and you can actually scroll it left to right to, we'll say, fast track through your waveform. I use it most often in automotive mode, to be honest with you. This is how you do a report, which is basically we're going to say a snapshot. So whatever's in the screen right away, you can hit report, bam, it'll save it, and you can send it as a PDF or whatever to somebody. Like I said, it's just a little short picture of what's going on. Almost kind of like a screenshot in a way, kind of, sort of. You guys can play with that more. Down here, data, that is to save your waveform that you have recorded. Now it saves basically whatever's in the box down here is what it's saving, that entire recording. So even though if you're just focused on or zoomed into just one ignition strike per se, you're going to get the whole waveform saved. And then the recall button right there, the clock with a circle around it, is how you load your previously recorded waveforms. And since we're in here real quick, we're going to cover this real fast. This is how you edit the title of your waveform, that pencil. This is how you can share it, however you want to, want to share it. That's a trash can, obviously, that deletes it. And if we go down here, this one isn't filled in yet. Obviously, we see there's marks down here that aren't filled in. But if we go down here like this Saturn one, you can see that it says Saturn, Outlook, year, engine capacity, firing order, and then I actually have a YouTube video linked to it too, which is the unboxing and first use of the 512 Max, if you're interested in that. And that is a secondary pickup of the ignition with the HS 512 Max, which turned out outstanding, if you ask me. Now, on to the next thing that's really cool. If you click this folder over here, you actually have the Hscope cloud, which is really neat. I don't know that it's going to load. Oh yeah, there it comes. I had my Wi-Fi turned off, so I didn't know if it was going to load fast or not. You can actually go in here and go under like makers, and it's sorted by who makes it. There's Saturn. Oh hey, look, there's my waveforms I uploaded to the cloud. So that's pretty cool, and I'm hoping that as more and more people use Hscope and more people upload waveforms, we can actually get a big waveform library, kind of almost like a Pico, so we can maybe compete with them, which would be really cool to be able to. If you're working on a vehicle, you can go into the beta cloud and pick on the car you're working on and already have a known good waveform to compare yours to, which I think would be outstanding. You can create folders and new files and everything on your obviously on your home device. You can't do that on the cloud, but which is pretty cool. Now down here we got the box right here, which is called tools. It enables your math channel, your FFT, XY plot, audio module if you have it bought, the digital module, and the pulse width modulated module. Now we're not really going to get into that, but just touch base on that. That actually changes the pulse width of the signal and the output on the back of your HS device in a little metal tab, which is neat. I mean, we'll hit it real quick just to show, just to display. You can actually change the pulse width there, up there and down there, and then you can do your frequency, change your frequency of it. If you want to play around with that, you can. Now let's go to the, I'm sorry, there's a lot of information, so if anybody has any questions or anything like that, please comment and I can get back to you on any questions you have. But we're just going to kind of run through this. This is the boring stuff. Not really boring, but the learning part is the tedious part. So this is what I feel is more like, I'm going to give you your basics, and what works for you is the best way to do it, because everybody has their own way of doing it, what they do or how they use it, and this, that, and the third. So whatever works best for you is how I would like you to do it, or what I think you should do, because you're the person that needs the results. So whatever results work best for you is the correct way to do it. So now in the automotive module, which is the car up here, we get the blue numbers here under your rate. Now, up to the 300 in the blue, this is obviously because I have both channels enabled. If I disable channel 2, for instance, I can go up to 600 rate at 600 kilosamples in the blue. Now that lets me record 2 minutes and 35 seconds of a non-stop recording. Whoop, it won't stop until 2 minutes is up, and then it'll stop, and then you can save it, whatever. Now once it goes to the white here, there's 13,091 kilosamples a second. Now that records in pages mode, which we can actually do. No, we can't do that because I have it set to auto trigger, but we'll get to that when we start recording waveforms in later videos. But it will actually do pages, so like each screen is a page, and then it saves it like that. So there's little separations in there, but like I said, depending, like I use that for CAN bus decoding. I use the pages. It works fine. I don't, you know what I mean? If I'm doing something, if I'm doing like a secondary ignition or something, or a pulse transducer or something like that, or a pressure transducer or a pulse sensor, something like that, I just use it down at like 300 or 600 kilosamples. There's no need to sample that kind of stuff that high. It's just overkill. It doesn't have to happen like that. And then, like I said, you have your digital decoder in here, and your match channels in here too. The only thing you don't have in automotive mode is trigger. because you're recording a long recording. So like your ignition, if you set the automotive mode and you just hit start, it's going to start recording. So you're going to just get your ignition hit every single time down through the waveform until you click stop. So then you can go back and review it. You're going to get a long recording. So that's kind of the difference between the two. Automotive module was made to record a longer segment of data and then be able to go back and review it and look at it. Scope mode is kind of a what's happening right now kind of thing. So, you know, like I said, I use them both a lot, actually, back and forth. I'll use like the scope mode for ignition, injectors, things of that nature. And then I use the automotive module for pulse sensors, pressure transducers, relative compression tests, you know, things like that. If I'm doing like if I want to get a long chunk of CAN data, I'm using the automotive module. And then you can use the decoder on that. Like I said, I use them back and forth. You guys can play with that. It doesn't, you'll figure it out pretty quick what works best for both. And then also, while we're in automotive module, you can use this button to minimize in and out this information over here. So if you do this button too and minimize this in there, you get the full screen, which is really nice sometimes. Now, and here in the eyeball, this is your view settings here that we just click after you get this eyeball down here. This button right here is the same thing as double tapping the screen. It actually blows it up so that your waveform covers the entire screen height wise. It doesn't do time wise, it just does amplitude. And then the second button down actually puts it all back to factory. So like, I should say factory, but if you have one channel slid apart from the other one so you can review it, if you hit that top button, it puts it all back to 0, on both channels and back to regular screen size. This button right here, the third one down, sorry, actually separates the waveform. So even if you have them put together like if you just recorded, they're both set on 0, and you hit that button, it'll separate them so you can see them both. The same thing with the bottom one here, except it does left to right instead of top and bottom. And the plus button over here is your rulers, drop a flag, your cam time, crank timing. The 1, 2, 3 is your ignition timing marks, and the square grid there is your piston chart. And then you got your ABC, which is add text to the file. We will cover more of that when we start recording waveforms, which we'll probably get into at the end of this video. We're going to record a relative compression test using voltage, because everybody has a test lead their scope came with. So we're going to cover that. Now, real quick, we're going to touch on this really quick. This is pretty simple. This is I call it the voltmeter, but it's actually like a data logger, what it's supposed to be. It will record voltage on here, and you can actually set it up to log the voltage. And this is your, I'm going through this quick, guys. I'm sorry. Getting kind of long here. This is the intervals of how it records. If I'm not mistaken, it's done in seconds, like a quarter second, half second, 1 second, 2 seconds, 60 seconds. But then it records the voltage, and it'll actually log it into a, I'm pretty sure, it's basically like a spreadsheet. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. CSV file, that's what it is. And then you can open it back up in here later and see what it says. Like there's a recording for that. I don't remember what I recorded these for. But I will tell you one thing, which is a good note to have, right? If you have this over here, if you have your scope mode on pause, okay, and you go to the voltmeter, this will be on pause also. And if you click the play button here without turning these red buttons off here, it'll start recording and save that recording. If you have this on play, like this, and it's playing already, and you go to the voltmeter, it will be recording already. It will be, see, I was adjusting, and it's not recording. So just keep that in mind. If you go, this is your channel 1, channel 2 settings. And then, like I said, down here is your settings, or your timing thing down here. This wheel down here, you set changes the time intervals of your samples. You can do a screenshot, and then you can do the button there to reload it. You can actually bring the logger up full screen. Like I said, I know it's a lot of information to cover in a short amount of time. I don't want to make this boring. I want to get through this stuff, because you guys can play with this at home or whenever. Like I said, my personal thing, I've watched all kinds of videos and stuff on YouTube, and I've researched it, and I've read all kinds of forums and pages, and got books and all kinds of stuff. The best thing I have found with my oscilloscope was to take my oscilloscope and my testing tools out to my own car in the evening or something whenever I had time, and just mess around with it. Just decide that today I'm going to get a secondary ignition pickup that looks good, and you go out, play with your settings, and oh nope, that looks like crap. Oh nope, that works. Oh, that works better, but let's try this, and back and forth to what works. So now I can go outside. If I want to get secondary ignition, I know what time rate, what sample rate, and where to set the trigger, and I just bam, instantly pick one up. It comes with practice, comes with time. You guys will get way better at it, and a scope will be a lot more easier to use. At first, it's intimidating and daunting, but once you start using it and get the feel for it, the next thing is not so hard. It's not such a far stretch. Once you pick up them first 2-3 fundamentals, it just rolls after that, and they just keep compounding on top of the last one. They're not very hard. It's not very difficult once you figure out how to use it. So please, by all means, if anybody has any questions or comments, please drop them in the comment. I will do my best to get back to them. Also, you can find me on the Telegram group all the time. So like I said, don't be afraid to message me on there, get at me. I will send you waveforms. I'll go outside and record one for you and send it to you and show you how I did it, tell you how I did it and how to decipher it and all that stuff. So don't be afraid to contact me. Like I said, we're also at the end of this video, we're going to record a relative compression using voltage. Now, I know this video has gotten very long, so I'm going to stop here, and then I'll get all set up and record the actual video of setting this recording all up, and then we'll jump back to the on screen and actually record the relative compression test. Now, we're just going to do a clear flood compression test, so nothing crazy. I know this has gotten very long, so I will upload that waveform to the library and link this video to it, and I'll also put a link to that video, you know what I mean, in the Telegram group, and then we can go back and review it and look at it then too. If you guys want to do it in 2 sections, because I honestly didn't think it would take this long, but I wanted to make sure you guys got the information you needed. So without further ado, I think we're going to call it quits on the scope introduction here. Like I said, we'll get more in depth into this stuff as we go on. But for now, I will catch you on the camera when we're starting to set up that recording. Alright, thank you guys for joining. Hope this was good information, and please don't hesitate to ask for more. Click that like, subscribe, and notification button, and share it with your friends. We're trying to boost up the Hscope support here. We're trying to get more supported devices, and more companies willing to support us so we can support them and grow the community and the help that we each other get, because you can't find this kind of help and this kind of support with an oscilloscope anywhere except with this app that I've found so far, and I've tried a lot of them. So please, if you know anybody's interested in one or looking for one, please share it, take your time and share it with them, and let's help each other get going here. There's plenty enough to go around, so please help each other out, and let's be a little bit of like a family around here. Alright, thank you guys. How's it going, guys? It's Denny from One Call Diagnostics. We're going to do that relative compression waveform with voltage. Along with that, really quick, I want to touch on a few things that I think that are necessary if you're doing automotive, at least the basics to have when you get your scope. Without further ado, let's get into it real quick. So first things first that I recommend you have is the longer automotive leads. At least 2 of them. I mean, with 2 channel scopes, so I mean, obviously 2 of them would be ideal. That's number one. That's first and foremost. And then along with that, a hook of some sort. I hang that up on the hood latch to hang wires off of to keep them off the motor. It just helps with interference and basically melting wires and getting them tangled in anything. And then one of these kits right here. Wouldn't believe it, but I found these at Harbor Freight for dirt cheap. I don't know exactly much, but they were pretty cheap. They come with banana jack to alligator clips on them. They come with all these different back probing connectors that slide right in the end of those jacks on your automotive leads. And a 20 to 1 attenuator. You can get these dirt cheap. Also, the gadget playlist has how to make them on there too if you want to make one. That's a definite necessity if you want to do ignition waveforms or injector waveforms, depending on your scope's capabilities. And then an amp clamp. This is a cheap Handtech 65 amp clamp. This is, look, it's even melted. I've used it. Alternator wire melted at one time. It works pretty good. I have to take stock on batteries because I always forget to turn it off, but you know, it is what it is. It's cheap, it works. yeah, so that's that. And then I'll just demonstrate this, these Backprobe connectors I got here. So they're just a little pin, little needle pin there. I don't know if you can see that or not. Little needle probe pin there. They literally just plug right into the end of your banana jack there. There you go, just like that. So you can backprobe a connector safer, I guess, than like T pins and whatever, and alligator clips. So let's get into the setup of this this compression test here. 1 second, I'm grabbing my test lead. Because I left it in the car. Now, I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but these alligator clips here, believe it or not, actually come from Harbor Freight also. In the they have a variety alligator clamp pack. It's got all different size alligator clips in it. These ones are the bare metal ones that have no coating or nothing on the back of them. They fit perfectly in a banana jack, so they were pretty cool for that. But you're supposed to do this on the battery for video purposes, and the fact that the battery is in the car, in the floor, under the seat. We're going to do it out here. But we're going to put the red jack. Can you guys see that? Can you see that good enough? I hope so. We're going to put the red lead on our positive and the black lead on our negative. I am not going to hook this to the scope because I recommend you have your scope plugged into something and turned on before you put voltage into it. So I have to use the same device I'm doing this on to screen record Hscope, so we're going to do that 2 steps. But then we'll just plug this into channel 1, boop, or channel 2, whatever channel you want to use, into your scope, and then we'll go into the setup of it. So let me, I'm going to stop this video. I'm going to hook the scope all up, and then we'll jump into the Hscope app real quick. So 1 second. Now we're back here. We're in Hscope. So me personally, we're going to turn this back to DC. Okay, so we're on DC voltage. We're going to go to the automotive side. Okay, we're going to automotive. Let me turn this back off again. So when you set all this up, you guys can see it. So for the automotive side, we're going to go to 150 kilosamples a second, 20 to 30 milliseconds a division. That's completely up to you, your call. AC couple, make sure you do AC couple, and we'll do plus or minus 1.7 volts. Turn channel 2 off. Now let me hook this up here quick because I have it disconnected still. So then we're going to just simple as pressing record. Go into the vehicle. Okay. I'm going to stop the recording. Okay. Now we go. Slide down here to the recording. Now that is our actual recording, right? Looks a little rough there. So what we'll do is we'll hit filter, low pass, and this is going to be normally, I'm sorry, I apologize, this is normally going to be at 1,000. You want to bump it down to 300. Done. Okay. Close. Boom. Here's your relative compression test. Now our next thing will be to do that with a signal, so you have so you know what cylinder is what. But I mean, if you do this and all your humps are even, as they are on here, you can see it's a little rough to see. As you see, all the humps are even. So I mean, obviously we actually don't have a low cylinder. This is a good vehicle. So that is our relative compression waveform. Let me see if I can remember which one of these is which. No, I don't remember. So, okay, so that will be our relative compression waveform. If you want to, that is our first waveform you guys are taking. If you have any problems with getting this waveform or want any more advice or information, please feel free to drop me a comment. Please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification button in this video. I'm going to upload this waveform to the cloud with this video linked to it, so you will be able to see how the process of acquiring this waveform if you find it on there. I think that is about what we're going to do for right now. I don't want to stretch this video on too long. It's already been long enough. So the next video is going to be just about acquiring some waveforms, putting a sync on our compressor waveform. We're also going to do one on with an amp clamp, with an amp compression test. Then we'll do removing a spark plug and having a low cylinder, so you guys can see how that's all done. But for right now, basic waveform, I think this is where we're going to have it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and hope you'll come back for more. Thank you.